The midday
This way,
sun
folks.
was relentless over
Our
Dusty
journey's just
Creek,
beginning.
a tiny town where rumors traveled faster than the
This way,
wind.
folks.
The wooden buildings,
Our journey's
weathered
just
by
beginning.
time and storms, seemed to lean closer together, as if whispering secrets to each other. On the main street, the air carried the scent of horses, sweat, and baked bread from the general store. A horse clattered sharply on the cobblestones as a lone cowboy, tall and broad-shouldered, rode into town. His hat shadowed his eyes, but his jawline was sharp, and the way he gripped the reins suggested he wasn't used to backing down from anything. "Sheriff!" he called as he swung off his horse, boots thudding on the wooden planks of the street. "I'm looking for the shipment. The one I ordered." The sheriff, a round man with a booming laugh that echoed across the town square, leaned casually against the steps of the jailhouse. "Oh, you mean the one we just got in?" he said, hands on his hips, twirling a cigar between his fingers. He didn't bother hiding his amusement. "Well, you got the heavy one this time, partner." The cowboy's eyes narrowed. "Heavy? I didn't order no heavy. I ordered the usual." His voice, low and dangerous, sent a ripple through the few townsfolk who had paused their work to watch. Even the children seemed to sense the tension and held their toys a little tighter. The sheriff chuckled and motioned toward the covered crate near the back of the livery stable. "Open your eyes, cowboy. You got the heavy one. And can't say I didn't warn you." With a grunt, the cowboy approached, kicking up dust as he went. The crate was massive, easily twice the size of anything he had ever received before. The wood creaked under the strain of its weight. He knelt down, tried to peek inside, and felt a strange mix of curiosity and dread. "This ain't right," he muttered. The sheriff laughed again, loud and unrestrained. "It's exactly right, friend, just unexpected." The cowboy heaved the crate, testing its weight. It was far heavier than it should have been. He frowned. His orders were usually precise. One standard delivery, nothing fancy, nothing unpredictable. And yet here it was. Something about the heaviness made his gut twist, a feeling that warned him this wasn't a normal shipment. "Who's responsible for this?" he demanded, voice low but edged with anger. The sheriff shook his head, still laughing. "Nobody. Just fate, I reckon. Or maybe luck. You'll see soon enough." The cowboy groaned and dragged the crate to the back of the stable, muscles straining with every step. Inside, the crate revealed its secret. It wasn't what anyone in town had expected, not even the sheriff. Wrapped carefully in burlap and tied with coarse rope was a massive round bundle of supplies, sacks of grain, bolts of fabric, tools, and, strangest of all, a lone, enormous dog sleeping soundly in the center, its paws tucked under as if it belonged there. The cowboy blinked in disbelief. This isn't mine," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The dog stirred, lifting its head, large amber eyes blinking lazily at him. Its coat was thick, dark, and shiny, radiating strength. It yawned, showing teeth that gleamed even in the dim stable light. "You sure about that?" The sheriff called from the doorway, arms crossed, still smirking. "'Cause I think she's just what you need." The cowboy frowned and tried to reason with the man, but something about the animal pulled at his instincts. There was a fierce intelligence in those eyes, a wildness he hadn't seen in a creature this size before. He reached out tentatively, and the dog nudged his hand, warm and heavy. The sheriff whistled loud and sharp. "See? She knows her man." The cowboy straightened, running a hand down his face. He was used to handling unpredictable situations, bar brawls, rustlers, and storms that could turn a calm afternoon into chaos. But this was different. The dog, sensing his uncertainty, got to its paws and padded closer, tail wagging slightly, massive paws thudding against the wooden floor. It wasn't just a dog. It was a presence. Something in the way it moved, deliberate yet gentle, made the cowboy rethink his day, his orders, even his life. "What's her name?" he asked, still skeptical but undeniably curious. The sheriff grinned, shaking his head as if he held some grand secret. "You'll find out soon enough. But trust me, she's heavy in every way that matters." The cowboy muttered under his breath, a low growl of frustration mingled with fascination. "Heavy in every way." He glanced at the townsfolk, most of whom were now gathered near the edges of the street, whispering and pointing, their curiosity almost palpable. "This isn't the one I ordered," he said again, more to himself than anyone else. But there was a new note in his voice, a challenge tinged with respect. Days passed, and the cowboy realized just how right the sheriff had been. The dog, who he finally learned was named Brindle, proved herself indispensable. She had the strength of 10 men, able to pull carts stuck in mud or guard the perimeter of the ranch without a second thought. Her intelligence was unmatched. She seemed to anticipate danger before it even arrived. And yet, she was gentle with the townsfolk, especially the children, who flocked to her as if drawn by some invisible bond. Slowly, the cowboy's resentment melted into admiration and even something warmer. He began to talk to her, telling her stories of the road, of towns he had passed, of the people he had met. Brindle listened, head tilted, as if understanding every word. The sheriff visited often, leaning on the fence with his usual grin. "Told you she was the heavy one," he'd say, laughing at the cowboy's initial skepticism. "Ain't no mistake getting her. Fate's got a funny way of delivering exactly what you need." The cowboy would just shake his head, smiling reluctantly, realizing that maybe he had been wrong to doubt. Brindle had changed his life in ways he hadn't anticipated. He felt safer, stronger, and, strangely enough, a little lighter despite the literal weight she carried. The town buzzed with stories. Travelers stopped to see the heavy one, and children told tales of the massive dog who could chase off trouble before it even began. The cowboy, once gruff and reserved, found himself laughing more, talking more, and seeing the world through a different lens. He had learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes, what you think you need isn't what life delivers. But what it gives you might be exactly what you were missing all along. And so, the cowboy and Brindle became inseparable. Every dawn they rode through Dusty Creek, patrolling, exploring, and guarding, a formidable duo admired and respected by all. The sheriff, watching from his office window, tipped his hat with a knowing smile. "Yep," he muttered to himself, "the heavy one was the best choice." As the sun set, casting golden streaks across the dusty streets, the cowboy sat by the fire outside the stable, Brindle's massive head resting on his lap. He chuckled softly. "All right, Brindle," he said, "maybe this isn't the one I ordered. But maybe, just maybe, it's the one I was meant to have." Brindle gave a soft growl in agreement, her tail thumping against the dirt, and the cowboy couldn't help but feel the town's quiet approval. A community that had watched him grow from stubbornness into appreciation for the unexpected. If you enjoyed this wild ride through Dusty Creek, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Adventures like these, tales of courage, humor, and unexpected friendships are waiting for you in every story. By subscribing, you'll never miss a moment of action, laughter, and the surprises that life or a mischievous sheriff throws your way. So go on, click that button and join us for the next adventure. Trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next.